There are some things in goal setting that come up that I want to talk about here that will give you success in executing your plan as you move forward. So let's look at those. So by the end of this lesson, we'll have strategies for positive forward action when we get stuck. So anytime we're setting goals, there are things that are going to come up that are one-time actions. You're one and done. I got to go get a certification. I got to go get a license in some area. I've got to go to the bank and get a loan, maybe, if I'm buying a company. These are things that are just one-time events. And then you've got things where maybe you have ongoing and have to create habits around. And we'll talk about those throughout this. So those are the two forms of actions that are going to come up that you'll have to address as you make these changes in your life. So one-time actions are one and done. Check the box. The best way to accomplish this by far that I've found is set a due date. That's why we did that in the last lesson. We set a due date and say that you'll have this started or completed by the due date. It's very important that you start building that habit of when you've just got one item to accomplish, just set a due date and get it done. Action is better than inaction. There's a time and a place for patience and things like that. I get it. But once you know what action you need to take, you've got to write it on your calendar and get it done. It's just very important that you just write it down, get it done. And if you take my goal setting workshop, you'll find out that this is something we very much fine tune in as we're setting goals. We identify the things that are going to get us to those goals, and for one-time actions, we set dates right then and there, and we don't miss. Then there are ongoing actions. These are the actions that require repetitive touches, and they require basically setting up new habits. And when someone wants to set up a new habit, these are the hardest things you're ever going to do as a person. As a human being, we're not very good at setting up new habits. So there's some tricks I can teach you on doing it was made famous by James Clear for those of you who've read Atomic Habits. He's not the one that came up with it, but he's the one that made it more popular. And it's called habit stacking. And it's if you have to do something once a day, find something that you already have to do once a day, like brush your teeth. And just when I brush my teeth, I then go and do this thing, if that's reasonable. Or if there's something you do once a week and you need to establish a new habit that's once a week, you tie that habit to that other thing. And so that way, every time you're doing something once a week, it's right there with this other habit that you already do once a week. You're already used to doing that, and therefore it's easier, the assumption is, to just do another habit right then and there. And this can establish a good habit because you're trying to establish a good habit with whatever you're trying to do here. So just know that this is a way, habit stacking is a way that you can accomplish that, and look for opportunities to do that when you're trying to establish a new ongoing activity along with your career goals. It's something you can do. So in conclusion, take your first action today toward your new career. Whatever those things are on your career map, we sat down and we wrote down a map for what other people had done, and then we figured out, based on what we see other people doing, what's the career map look like for you? And where are you in that career map? We've identified that. And then based on that point of where you are, what's the next step? Today is the day you need to take the first step. Even if it just is so simple as putting it on your calendar that by X date, I will have either started or completed this next step on where I want to be in my new career path. Your action item, write down one action item due date on your calendar for getting that done, getting that next step in your map done. If you've identified on your map anything that's going to require a habit, find a career habit that you already have and habit stack it to get that goal, to get that habit accomplished to help you accomplish your goal in the new career path.